Hello, dear friends. Here we are, 40 nights with the Promise Consoler. And here we are also at Kardec Radio, in our app, in our website, kardecradio.com, which is a 24-hour responsible spiritist radio. Yes. And here we are. Night or day, day or night, 28. Yes, can you believe it? 28 days it's been. Remember when we began it, we talked about the very time in which Jesus, we began when he was also symbolically at the same time of the year, getting into the desert for 40 days before he entered Jerusalem, and then he went through his own passion. 40 days in the desert. It's been 28 days for us, and far from being in the desert, we are in this beautiful oasis created by him. Yes, the desert is our hearts, still dry, still believing that we're the ones dictating the rules. I've heard somebody saying today, oh, the new generations are gonna do the great works. We're not gonna see the results. Friends, the new generation has been announced for the longest time. And in the spiritist sense, it was announced at Kardec's time. We are already living the great works of the new generation. Chico Xavier symbolizes the great works of the new generation. We are already living it. Don't wait for the children to do what you have to do, what we needed to do. Because in the future, people are going to look back and see the great sacrifices that you've incurred to open the pathway for them. Don't sit and wait, because I've seen many people doing this. My children are gonna do it, my grandchildren are gonna do it. Generations have passed by and we're yet to see anything. No, you are the new generation. Okay? Let's do the work, right, Carol Correa? Thank you so much, Carol, for your kindness in checking out our system, and for the beautiful friends who are here. Hello, Rita Di Cássia. Hello, Jussara. How are you? Hello, Constance. Endusca, Solange, Valéria. How are you? Leia Severo, Julija. Hello, Sunshine. Ana Dilson. How are you? Kátia. Hello, Cissa. How are you? Here we are, friend Danny and Erica. How are you, friends? Everybody doing well? Wonderful, right? Together. Yes, we're here together. And, you know, the Promise Consoler is not only here to console us if people hurt us, but is to bring us a new perspective when we make mistakes that are grave, and we need somebody to help us overcome, forgive our own selves, forget, and move forward. Right? Am I right? So the Promise Consoler is here also for us in that regard. Today, we're studying chapter 7. We changed a little bit of the program according to the spiritual recommendations. It's chapter 7, and forgive me because I'm looking here at our system, and of the book. The book's name is Contos desta e de outra vida. Contos desta e de outra vida, by Brother X through the Spirit, through the medium Chico Xavier. This is chapter 7, Serving More. Short, hello Rihanna, but as always, you're going to be happily surprised and sometimes astounded by the report. Let us read it. Chapter 7, Serving More. Ephraim ben Asaph, who was Israel's warlord against the Roman power, had come to Jerusalem to raise up the lines of resistance. Being informed that Jesus, the prophet, had been received in the city in a festive manner, he decided to seek Jesus in the house of Obed, the goatkeeper, in order to hear him. Master, said the warrior, I do not seek you as one who does not know the justice of God, that corrects the errors of the world every day. I need instruction for my personal conduct in regards to aiding people. How shall we act when the pride of others grow large or strong and hinders our way? What about when vanity boasts power and multiplies the tears of those who weep? And the Lord, fixing his translucent gaze on Ephraim, said, we must be more humble and serve more. But what about when wickedness rises lurking at our door? What should we do when wicked men slander us as executioners? And Jesus said, more love and more service is needed. Lord, what about the fierce word? What steps should we take to curb it? How should we proceed when the mouth of the offender spits the fire of violence like a storm cloud throwing rays of death? Well, we should be more gentle and serve more. What about the blows of life? There are individuals who work cruelly, hurting us to the flesh. In what way do we lead our steps before those who persecute us without reason and hate us without any reason? We shall be more patient and serve more. What about looting, Lord? What guidelines should we seek when facing those heartless and powerful who steal, assuring their own impunity at the expense of the gold that they gather over the weeping of their fellow men? We should renounce more and serve more. What about the murderers? What behavior should we adopt before those who set fire on fields and homes, exterminating women and children? We should be more forgiving and we should serve more. Ephraim was exasperated since he found no basis for the political retaliation he aspired to undertake on a larger scale. Then he said, Master, what do you mean by serving more? What do you mean by serving more? Jesus caressed one of the children who were looking for him and replied without pretense, "Once we are convinced that the justice of God is governing our life, our obligation is to live righteously in the practice of the good with the certainty that the law will take care of everyone. So we have no better way than to always serve more for the good of others." The Israeli leader manifested great contempt and left the room without saying goodbye. After 2 days, when the henchmen of Sanhedrin arrived with Judas to arrest the Messiah, Ephraim ben Asaph was right there at the front row, and smiling when handcuffing the Christ, as if he was a fearful robber, he asked him sarcastically, "Don't you react, Galilean?" But again, the Christ rested his calm eyes on him and only said, "We should be more understanding and serve more." It's sad, striking, and it tells us, no matter how much you serve, like Jesus, people whom you try to help will do the same to you. Yeah. As we were saying at the very beginning, Jesus is calling you and I to serve more. This story about the new generation that people talk about, Kardec announced in the 19th century, already saying that the new generation was already coming, was already here. Eurípides Barçanufo, Chico Xavier, several Nobel Prizes like Ramon e Cajal, Camilo Golgi, and many others in this world are part of the new generation, and you and I are too. Don't listen to the voice that says that our children and grandchildren are going to do what you are supposed to do. They're going to do what they have to do. But you know, somebody told me, for example, if they told me 15 years ago, Vanessa, or more, I don't think Spiritism is ever going to be in English. I don't think we're going to have conditions to have the books, etc. So, you know, probably I couldn't foresee it. And look where we are. How could we ever imagine? We're already seeing the fruits of this work. Because you and I are here together, united, working for our inner transformation. Today, Spiritism in Nevada County, led by our dear friend Sabine Beck, our dear sunshine. She's saying quite clearly a statement. Spiritism came here to promote inner transformation. We can already see the fruits of that right here now. Right? And as Jussara is saying, nobody builds the second floor without the first floor. We have to lay the foundation. Precisely, Jussara. And I know many people who have been saying, our kids are gonna do it. Many generations have passed by. They haven't done anything. We need to do it. And not for people to see, but inside of us. Look at Jesus, friends. One of the things we have noticed in these 28 days together, what is it? Jesus spent time one-on-one, person by person, person by person. Like Chico Xavier, person by person, person by person. Did you see the accounts by Humberto de Campos? He never tells us about the moments in which Jesus was talking to the masses. He reports about the one-on-one relationship. We need to value this one-on-one. Each person that we empower, that person can empower his or her network. Each person. I'll give an example. When Kardec Radio began, and to date we do this, we began interviewing non-spiritists. And then we continued spreading the spiritist teachings, but showing what Kardec showed to us, the universal teachings. And some people are like, yeah, Vanessa, but they talk about their books. Yeah, they come talk about their books. That's fair. The books talk about what we know as well. But you know, they form opinions of others. If you go to their websites, you're going to see their interview at Kardec Radio. They are spreading the news in their network. How many people I know who have come to consult with the spirits, the spiritist teachings, through emails, etc., due to these interviews? They contacted us. People who were in the network of those whom we interviewed. And they formed opinion. They also started reading the books. And we were exchanging, we were in this conversation of awareness, showing the commonalities. And some people are like, oh, but that's not Spiritism. And what is Spiritism? Only what's written in Spiritism? No. It's not about the word. It's about the content. It's about the science behind it. And we don't own the copyright of the ideas. Thank God. And we don't own the copyright of even the name. If people want to call it Spiritism, we cannot sue them. Their conscience is going to tell. Okay? So we need to meditate on this. Meditate very deeply. Very deeply. Serving more. How can you and I serve more? How can you and I love Spiritism all the more after I have been talking to all these people. Because I see how Kardec was right. Everything that he has disclosed from the spirits is spread out. It's not a copyright given to me or you. Right, Carol? McLevain, how are you? She says, I love hearing all the authors. It's like they consolidate the Kardec teachings and make them more readily available to understand for me. Carol Correa is saying, the message is universal. Duska is saying to us, I'm very pleased with how much has been done in the last 20 years. When I arrived in the USA in 1989, there was no Spiritism here. Thank you, Duska, for sharing this. Rita Di Casa is saying, let me see. The system is playing here with me, but let me see if I can rescue. Hold on, friends. I'm gonna make it. I'm getting down here to read what you've written. And if you guys didn't speak English, I wouldn't. Says Sunshine, be here. I'm so grateful, and we are grateful to you, to your persistence, to your patience, and to your attitude of bringing about. Thank you. Thank you, John DeRosa, for everything you have been doing to contribute to this beautiful works as well. Okay? Thank you. And Jussara, who is this non-stoppable advocate, active advocate for the cause of the English-speaking Spiritism in the world. Now, friends, let's go back to the message. somebody who is a warrior, who is a warlord, and we still have many warlords on the earth. And the problem is not the warlords that exist elsewhere. The problems is when I find warlords in our own home, in our own communities, right? People who want to compete. There's no competition. There's no competition. It's just an illusion. Do you think you have features that characterize a warlord? Somebody who is constantly driven to compete, constantly driven to be ahead of everybody else? Because there are so many people who suffer daily, not because they have a disease of the body, but they have a disorder of personality. That's one of them. They have this tendency to be so competitive that they are competing with their own soul, own shadow. Are you like this? Am I like this? How often people feel motivated to do something just because they want to prove that they are better than the others. They have never written a book, but if you write a book, then they are gonna write a book just to prove that their book is better than yours. They never do any work like painting the walls of their home, but they got to know that their neighbor is doing it, and then they decide to take on a project, painting the house. And you ask why? Well, my neighbor's doing it, I'm gonna do it and show to him the right way to do it. But who is competing here? What's the point? What is the point? How can I be happy in that state of mind? How? I remember when the experimenters asked us to create Allan Kardec Radio. They asked us to put it together to the benefit of all, not to compete with anybody. And if we were to compete, we wouldn't do it. It's not worthwhile. The feeling is not Christ-like. Do you do things out of displacing people's abilities? And forgive me for asking this to you, not because you are to be blamed, but this is a therapeutic conversation for us. How many of us feel like doing things just to show that we can do better than others, not because we really want to do it? And you know, children are like this. But it's not negative for children to do it, because it's natural. The problem is when we are adults and we do things like others, not because we want to do the good, but because we want to show them that we can do better than them. How can we be happy in that state of mind? How can I be happy carrying a flag of the Spiritist teachings, but not walking the talk, feeding the services that I'm doing on the intention of being better than others? That's not a Spiritist concept. That's not a Spiritist attitude. Because the main reference for the Spiritists, as Kardec said in the Gospel according to Spiritism, By definition, what is to be spiritist, whether spiritist person, or a spiritist magazine, or a spiritist radio, or a spiritist book, or a spiritist talk, is to tame my own bad tendencies, not to compete with others. And the world is being shaken up and is in these final years of heavy probation. Why? Because even us, we're still the warlords in our own communities, in our own spiritist center, not accepting a united collaboration because of ego, because of separation, because of pride. If we are in that boat, we're in trouble. Right? Exactly. Right. Hello, Joyce. Hello, Luciana, Antoine, and Constance. Bless your work and blessings for you are here. Hello, Angelita. And here we have, friend, the opportunity of being together. McCuffrey Claire is kindly asking us, what is this probation that we're talking about, right? What is this probation? Chico Xavier, when he was incarnated, he received a message by Emmanuel telling us that, yes, Jussara, these are difficult but truthful. We needed to realize that if we're truly spiritists, we are fraternal. We are collaborators. We are not creating dissension, or when we're invited to collaborate, we don't turn it down. The Christ never turned down any possible collaboration to do the good. If we do it, we are not truly spiritists. Whether spiritist person, a spiritist book, a spiritist radio, a spiritist magazine, a spiritist talk, etc. So again, McCuffrey Claire, when we had the Second World War, the mentor Emmanuel told Chico Xavier that there was such commotion in the spiritual realm that the Second World War was affecting not only the planet Earth, but the whole solar system, magnetically speaking, because we're talking about vibrations of hatred and fear that were creating disturbance not only for the Earth, but for the energy field of the solar system. So the Christ spirits commanding the planets of the solar system got together, and amongst them Jesus Christ. And they were saying, the Earth, it's like a child having a tantrum. We need to discipline. And Jesus, in his compassion, said, please give us 50 years to put it in place. And that's the probation. And according to the dates, the probation shall end on July 20th, 2019. What do we need to do to comply with it and be free? Not be free, but what's going to happen? The condition is not to create or engage into a major Third World War. And if we do engage, the heavy load of justice is going to fall upon us. We will suffer greatly. And I'm saying this figuratively speaking. I'm not saying God punishes us, but our conscience is not going to allow us to go by a third world war without much affliction. And if we don't engage in a third world war, we're going to start living a new era that we can almost foresee in moments like ours here. We call it Jupiter moments, moments in which we already experience the joy of being together, right? And talking about this intercontinentally like we're doing every day at 11 p.m. Yes, it's by 2019, July 20th, no, 2019. But the question, my friends, is not about a third world war that is going to happen somewhere else or here. It's about if we are creating wars here. As Mentor Joseph said, what can we do not create wars in our homes? Here, in our minds. Stop pushing yourself, saying that you're not going to amount to anything, that you deserve to be punished. That inner war has to be over. Love ourselves. Stop the inner war. Stop the war with the people in your household. Stop the wars with the people in your workplace. I've heard a friend of mine saying, you know, I go to work and there's this person, she's always on my back, she's always calling the boss, trying to create embarrassments for me. But if I do this, I am in trouble. So I need to stop that war that I create at work. And especially if I create wars in my Spiritist community, in the Spiritist movement. The Third World War is just a reflex of the many wars we're all creating inside of us, in our families, in our nuclei, and then a natural consequence, a bigger war. As Carol McLean is saying, be the change you want to see, yes. McCarthy Clare is saying, why we afflicted as one, not leaders who... If I understood, yeah, we're the ones who created, right? McCarthy Clare, is that what you meant? Hello, Andrea. How are you? So the question for us is, are we seeking the Christ to create wars? Because Ephraim was seeking the Christ with his vanity, like many spiritists I know nowadays. They go and they are friends with big, like powerful mediums, and they are like, I talk to this medium comes to my house and does this and that and the other, and now I know the mediums told me, just like the woman from yesterday when we studied it. She said she had a sorcerer, psychic who was so powerful that made her powerful. We have many spiritists who are like this. They feel because they have connections with people that are mediums, reliable ones, that now they're more powerful than others. We can't be like this, right? Hello, Rose. Oh, you meant the president? Yeah, but don't be afflicted, McCarthy Clare. Don't be afflicted. Okay? Because the president, believe it or not, is the reflex of the collective. Is the reflex of the collective mental attitude. We can work on it. That's why we're here every day. Since the result of the election, Mentor Joseph said, Vanessa, prepare yourself to work 3 times harder. We need to help people not fall in the trap of negativity. That's why we're here. Since then, more than 130 days maybe, together continuously, because he said now it's time to work harder, helping people in our lives never lose the faith and the joy of living and the courage to do what they have to do. Hello, Aiden. Thank you for your love. Thank you, Rose, for being with us. Okay? Hello, Rudy and Rudy. Perfect timing. We can do it. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Didn't go away. And this is not a political statement. It sounds like, right? But it's not. Yes, we can. Has no copyright. Yes, we can is what Emmanuel wrote in the book, Thought in Life. We can and we shall. Right? Thank you, Andrea. Yes, that's great that you're there. And if Brianna is saying, if we want to see a miracle, let's be the miracle. Perfect. Thank you. The question for us, number one, therapeutic conversation is, am I a warlord? Am I a person who is constantly competing, competitive? Somebody's cooking and we want to show how we cut the onion better than the other person. How my recipe is better than the other person. How I clean better than the other person. It's so funny. People, when they are competitive, little things they want to be competitive about. How can I go home and be happy? Never. The second thing, Jesus is very translucent. He is very transparent regarding his dialogue with Ephraim. Ephraim is asking, and he could have lectured Ephraim, right? He says, if people are too egotistic, what do we do? Be more humble and serve more. So Jesus is giving us truly the pathway. He's guiding, saying, if somebody brags about themselves, what do? Don't teach them a lesson. Don't brag about yourself. What do? Be more humble. Let them shine. Serve more. But what if they are cruel? They slander us. Love more and serve more. What if they say stuff that hurts us, that offend us, that are aggressive, verbal abuse? Be more gentle and serve more. What about those who really persecute us and hate us without any reason? Be patient with them and serve more. What about those who are simply cruel and they do what they want to do and they don't care about how people are feeling? And he says, renounce more and serve more. When he says renounce, he's talking about what? Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Let people be. You don't need to prove anything. Let them be. Renounce the need to be recognized, to be respected. See, Jesus, he was at the cross. He was not like, you think I'm stupid? I am powerful. I can come here and show you the power. He didn't do it. He renounced the need to show that he's better, the need that, renounce the ego, right, Carol Correa? Prayer, McCarthy Claire, is the key, right, to go through these toughest times. You're right. Prayer, prayer, prayer. And what about people who kill others, who even exterminate others? Forgive them and serve more. Right, Eunice? How are you? And now the ultimate question. What is to serve more? What is this serving more? what is this serving more that Jesus is telling us? After all, what does he mean? Right, Rosalind? Only Jesus, right, Rita de Cassia? It's not easy, but let's go and let go and let God. And don't forget, Jesus is passing by. Jesus is passing by. Jesus is passing by. And when he comes, everything's fine. Sadness is gone. Happiness arrives. The other day, you know, some things were happening. And you know those days when you're feeling almost consumed by a scenario, situation, and you start losing sight of a perspective of what's going to happen next. And in prayers I said, Joseph, please. And he said, Vanessa, remember Jesus' smile. Life is not that heavy. No. Observe the impermanence of everything. Everything is impermanent, passes. People have the illusions that they're going to stay there and do that for the rest of their lives. And they don't know that sooner than they imagine, they're not going to be there. They're not going to have the resources they have at hand. So he said, smile. When your heart is aching, smile when your heart is breaking. Whatever we sing, it's valid because it makes us feel better, right? It doesn't matter as long as we chant so we can boost ourselves up. And Joseph said, remember of Jesus' smile. He went through everything. He never lost hope. He knows that there is always tomorrow. There is always another day. There is always a new opportunity. Nothing is in vain. Nothing is lost. The apparent win of the impious is only an appearance. We are living at a time in which vanity is at stake. Ego is at stake. But it doesn't last. Everything comes and goes. Like breathing, like the waves of the ocean. They come, so beautiful, they go. Everything in life is like that. Comes and goes. Comes and goes. Are we ready to let go? The only way to let God is to let go. Let go to let God. Let go to let God. Thank you, Rita, for sharing with you, because the only way is really to feel one. And Jesus tells us, serve more. But Vanessa, I'm sick. I have these problems. Right now I can't. Jesus is saying, but serve more in spite of it all. And he says, what is to serve more? First of all, to be convinced that the justice of God is governing our lives. Is the justice of God governing your life? My life. Majority of people on earth, they don't feel they have to respond to any Lord. They feel like free to do whatever they like without giving account of how they use their time, their energy, anything. And Jesus is saying to serve more encompasses, number one, to know that we are under God's system, and in His justice we are being governed. Are we aware of it? Every day, all the time? And because of it, we have a duty, an obligation. What is our duty? To live righteously, to fulfill the laws of God, to comply with the laws. Scale 0 to 10. How compliant are we regarding today, currently, regarding God's laws? It's a subjective rating, okay? There's no right or wrong, but let us observe. 0 being not compliant at all, and 10 being totally compliant. Where do you think you are today in regards to being compliant to the laws of God? What are the laws of God, Vanessa? Go read the book, the Spirit's book, part 3, the 10 laws, summarized. But if you don't have time and you want to measure right now, the main commandment, love God above all things and love our neighbors ourselves. Where do you think you are? Scale 0 to 10. How compliant are you? Because Jesus is saying, if we fulfill our duty to be compliant, we're going to practice the good with the certainty that the law of God will take care of everyone, and we have no better way than to always serve more for the good of others. So to serve God is to do the good, but not only to you, not only to your family, not only to the people at your work, to the universal family. How compliant are we? This is to serve more, to be more compliant. This man, a warlord, he felt like he wanted to make justice with his own hands. Searching for justice, Jesus said, if you want to be really just to serve God, you need to help people. You need to do the good today. But Vanessa, where do I start? For example, in your Spiritist Center, in our Spiritist Center in Virginia, we have a program to help mothers who are just having new babies. If you want to bring stuff so we can deliver to them. People who are in jail and need hygiene kits, clothes to go back to the workforce, we need to deliver them. Visiting homeless Sunday, bringing the heart bags. Now we have a new program from one of the members who created this Adopt a Senior. And people are like, what do I do? But there we have it. And we need people to clean the center. We need people to help with many things at Kardec Radio, Spiritist Magazine. So people say, where do I begin? It's right in front of us. At home. At work. Serving more. Being more compliant. More charitable. More benevolent. And when Jesus says that, what does the man do? He despises Jesus. Looks down on Jesus. And turns his back and leaves the room without saying goodbye. If this happens to you one day, don't be upset, because it happened to Jesus already. And he had nothing to expiate, as we say in Portuguese, or in the Spiritist teachings. And what is that? That man who was treated kindly by Jesus comes back and helps arrest him, and is sarcastic to him. And what does he reply with? It's as if Jesus is saying, I understand you, Ephraim. You really don't know what you're doing. If I invite you, my friend, to help, if Jesus invites us to help, and if the person who is being invited is turning down the help, Jesus is saying that famous sentence, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing, creating dissension. They don't know. They are creating karma. They forgot about the law of action and reaction. Do to others what you'd like to receive. Right, Rihanna? Right. Antonio is saying that will be easy when we know that Jesus according to Spiritism, because this Christ is clear, logic, good. Exactly, thank you. Friends, we need to help each other and serve more. Are you ready to serve more? Serve more is to be compliant with God's laws. And what is to be compliant? To do the good to others, to everyone. Oh no, but that person is not my family. Yes they are. Yes they are. And we better never forget it. Shall we? Because when Jesus is passing by, we better go with him. Because if we stay, happiness goes there and we stay here. So we better go. How do we say it? Jesus is passing by. Jesus is passing by and he's calling us, serve more. And when he comes and calls you and I to serve more, everything is fine, sadness is gone, and happiness arrives. So if we want happiness in our lives, we better serve more with our dear Christ. Shall we, friends? Don't forget, Spiritism, the Spiritist Symposium in Orlando, May 5th. Don't forget the campaign for the books for South Africa. Don't forget about the campaign also for praying for the Spiritist teaching. Record a prayer, please, all of you. Shall we? Like to invite all of you to record either a Spiritist message or a prayer to participate at the National Day of Spiritism led by the United States Spiritist Federation on April 18th. Shall we? Send it to us, cardiacradio@gmail.com. We're going to play 24 hours of messages and prayers in the name of peace and consolation and love and unity. Shall we, friends? Thank you very much, and Jesus is passing by. Bye-bye.